Well, guys, apologies. Got a very late start, or maybe an early start for tomorrow, because tomorrow's today. A lot of stuff going on. So rather than just not do it, I said I was going to do it, so I'm doing it. Hopefully, somebody's up. Maybe people on the West Coast might be up. But let me know if this is working for you in terms of, can you see stuff? Can you hear me? Been getting some feedback, so we've been testing out stuff. But anyway, I'm here. Hope somebody else is too. Looks like we've got some people here. So it's been a little stressful trying to get this up and running, so I decided I would talk about a stressful story from my past. And so last week, if you guys didn't catch it, the picture that won was about my first experience with a cat. And how scary that was for me as a toddler to be pounced on by a cat several times. This story, well, I'll just get to it. So I think I was probably maybe, 8, maybe 7, 8. But I had one of my good buddies when I was about 8. His name was Bradley, and this was the 80s, so this was back when kids were kind of left to their own devices. So, occasionally you'd get to spend the night at your buddy's house. So on this occasion, I think it was a Friday night, after school went over to Bradley's house to stay over. So we stayed up in the evening. I think his dad may have gotten us some videos, and we played video games into the wee hours of the morning, and that was always fun. I remember he had like one of the first kids I ever met that had a modem. Put the old receiver of your telephone onto the modem. That was always cool. I don't know exactly what he used it for, but it was pretty cool. He had an old Atari 800, so it's Atari home computer, and I think he ended up becoming a programmer, if I'm not mistaken. But he was one of those kids who was always into computers, and he ended up working at a video game store in high school. I think he even started when he was like in middle school. Like he was that into computers, and he knew that much that they actually hired him. But anyway, so the next morning we decided to get up, and after we had breakfast, we set off, and we decided we were going to just walk down. There was there were two parks that were in town. One was like a big open park, it's really sunny, and the other one was like in like a grove of redwood trees. So as kids, I don't know what the actual names of the parks were, but we called them Light Park and Dark Park. So we went to Dark Park, and there was like a big giant like fort they had there, and they eventually closed it down because it was really dangerous. Like I just remember they had like several stories, and another time I remember Bradley actually fell down the whole, like from the top to the bottom. And I don't know how he survived, and he didn't have to go to the hospital or anything. But I just remember him falling down. But we this time we decided instead that we were gonna. It was summer, and so there was a creek that ran along the side of the park there. So we were just gonna. It was dry, so we were just gonna hike it. We were gonna just go as far up this dry creek bed as we could, and we just started off. It's pretty fun. We just kept going. Like there's houses. It was because it was a dry creek bed, so there was like houses on either side, and we just kept walking. Eventually, we got to this one house, and all of a sudden we started hearing like growling, and we look up, and on this porch, all of a sudden we started hearing barking, and there was this German Shepherd, and he was scary. He started barking at us, and when you're kids, like they tell you, don't run, dogs, but we panicked, and we started running, and I saw this thing leap down off this deck that it was on, and it gave chase. Bradley was a much faster runner than I was, and but I could hear it just closing in on me, and just snarling and barking, and I think it was like right on my heels, and it was just closing in. I thought it was done for. We were screaming for help, and it was a dry creek bed, so there was nobody was there, and so this thing was closing in on me, and I was getting more and more tired, and as scared as I was, I just knew like at some point I was gonna have to stop because I just couldn't run anymore, and I knew I just had to keep going, just keep pushing as far as I could, and at some point I didn't have any more steam, and I knew this was it. I was gonna have to stop. I couldn't run anymore. I was out of breath, and Bradley was like way faster than me, so he was gone. And I stopped, and I just knew that was it. This thing was going to get me. And I just stopped, and I looked up, and I turned around because nothing happened. And it had stopped a few feet behind me. And it was just staring there, barking at me, but it didn't go any farther. And I'm not sure if it was because we just got out of its territory, or because of the fact that I stopped running, then it stopped. To this day, I don't know what the reason was, but for some reason, Doug was didn't intend on getting me, I guess, or didn't see me as a threat, just wanted to prove a point. But man, that was like, it was one of the scariest things that ever happened to me as a little kid. I was completely, I was like, basically, as a little kid, you don't really understand about mortality, but I basically I just made peace with the fact that this dog was going to get me. I didn't know what that meant, but I knew it was not good. And eventually, I stumbled back down this creek bed, and Bradley was waiting for me, but it was not a fun time. It started out really cool. It was like one of those magical afternoons. It just turned into a horror story. So I don't know. Has anybody ever had anything like that, like a situation where you just thought that was it, but then it wasn't? As a kid, I mean, I don't know. Something was looking out for me, I think, or just the dog was not as mean as he wanted us to think he was. But yeah, I was I never went back down that creek bed ever again. I'm told it's actually leads up to a pretty cool area, but I'll have to take everybody's word for it. So this is kind of a little. I mean, my being on late was kind of a little bit of a bonus for all you folks that like to catch me live, because we're going to move into during the weekday versions of this sketchy friendler. We're going to move to video so that we can do a little editing and do some stuff to kind of accentuate some of the drawings that I'm doing and help the storytelling along. Because I know that some people are having a real hard time with this blue that I start out with, but we're gonna like try to punch up the colors so that people can see it better. Because it's nothing worse than like people stumbling across this and seeing I'm drawing something and they can't see it, or people that are just being patient but they still can't see it. So that way we can make it darker in the beginning, and then we'll just bring it back to normal once I start working in the regular pencil. But we'll still be going live on Sunday when after you guys pick which drawing you like best. Also, a good cool thing I can do with doing it video is I can do like several drawings at a time, and then I can free up some time during the day that I can get other stuff done. So that's one of the other reasons. But it didn't traumatize me to the point where I didn't like dogs. I mean, as you know, I totally love dogs. And, I love German Shepherds. One of my best dog friends who's now crossed the Rainbow Bridge was named Carl, and he was a German Shepherd. And I walked him and dog sat him many times. He's a very sweet guy. Didn't like other dogs so much, but he was very sweet to me and his family. One cool thing about this new setup is I can actually see what I'm drawing. So when I'm starting to drift off the field of view, I can move this, or if I somehow bump this tablet to the side, I can catch myself so that you guys don't have to wonder what I'm drawing. So I can move it over. All right. So just so you know, if you're interested in any commissions, if you have any requests for something you want me to draw, we have set up a supporter page called the Friendly Friendlers, and that's for anybody who wants the opportunity to get something from me drawn for them. So how it works is if you sign up, subscribe to the Friendly Friendlers, then every month I will randomly pick one of the members, and you get a black and white drawing of a single subject that you will supply a picture or the best description you have of, and I'll get that out to you in the mail. So I'll work on that all month long behind the scenes for you. And if you want it colored, or you want more than one subject, or you want expedited shipping, then you can opt for additional fee. But the black and white you're entitled to as part of if you get picked for that month. And it was just a way to so I just don't get like slammed with a whole bunch of requests at once, and I can do quality work for my requests, and also to keep the prices relatively reasonable, because I don't want to like charge a whole bunch of money for my sketches. I don't think it's right. Maybe someday, but right now it's all about just appreciating you guys and working on getting better at doing this. So the other cool thing about me being able to do videos instead of lives is that we can probably have a regular time that I post, so that you guys know when to be on the lookout for them, instead of you accidentally catch my lives later because you don't know when. I don't know when I'm gonna live. I mean, look, I'm on here in the middle of the night, so this way you can you kind of can set your clock for when I post. It'll just be, I think, a lot better for everybody. And again, I will be on Sundays live, so you won't get to miss out. And I'm again with the lives that I was doing the week, I wasn't talking to anybody because I was just focusing on my story and what I was drawing. So it's not like you're really losing anything. I mean, I think you're gaining stuff, because I think we'll be able to do some pretty cool stuff with editing and filters and whatever other stuff we can come up with. So I think that's gonna do it for today. Actually, I will be posting the videos, I think, starting today later on. So you'll get another one today, because this should have been yesterday. All right. So because it was yesterday, let's see, what was it? Is it 12th? I'll put 7-Eleven. That's when I should have done it. All right, guys. Thank you so much. Thank you for being up with me, and I appreciate it. I appreciate you guys. Thank you, and I will see you tomorrow or today. All right. Bye.